You know on her face in public like that again and you'll be one.
9 Best John Candy Movies. God of Feel-Good Comedy. This year happens to mark the 27th anniversary of Canadian actor and comedian John Candy's death, but the legacy of this cinematic legend continues to live on to this day. Back in the 80s and early 90s, Candy was one of the most admired and desired comedians, leaving an indelible imprint in the minds of people. Despite essaying roles that were noisy, unconventional, obnoxious, and even ridiculous at times, his congeniality was consistently on display. Indeed, his life was not a duck soup. He battled with depression, untimely losses, and several challenging career setbacks. Regardless of all that, he never let his personal problems overtake his performances, keeping up his same cheerful self whilst playing iconic roles that are still deep-seated in cinematic history. In today's video, we will take a look at 9 of John Candy's best movies. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Why are you holding my hand? Where's your other hand? Between 2 pillows. Those aren't pillows.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, 1987. Neil Page is a high-strung marketing executive who wants to make it home for Thanksgiving. He has problems getting a cab during rush hour, and later his flight gets cancelled due to bad weather. At the airport, Neil comes across garrulous shower curtain ring salesman Del Griffith, who is never in a deficit of advice, bad jokes, or conversation. The duo happen to be heading in the same direction, and what follows is a heartwarming, hilarious journey. The strength and pure genius of John Hugh Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is that, while the movie is wickedly funny, it also reveals great hurt and truth. Certain elements such as tenderness, agony, and conflict make this film go away beyond its genre conventions. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles boasts of one of Candy's finest performances. The actor's versatility shines through right from the beginning till the end. Nobody could have essayed the role of Del Griffith the way Candy did. He puts so much thoughtfulness that the film metamorphosizes from a rolling on the floor laughing comedy to an extremely sweet and compassionate story of 2 strangers triumphing over their flaws and learning from each other. Candy, along with Steve Martin, are an absolute riot together. Anyone with a good sense of humor will appreciate this movie, and brownie points if you are a John Candy fan. Watch out for the bittersweet finale, one that is bound to leave you with a smile.
Hello?
I'll be down in a minute and make you some breakfast.
Oh, that'll be nice. Yeah, a little breakfast.
Only the Lonely, 1991. Danny Muldoon is a 38-year-old bachelor and Chicago cop who still lives with his domineering Irish mother. When he meets the shy funeral home worker Teresa, he gets smitten by her and the pair fall in love. Danny's mother instantly dislikes his love interest for her Sicilian and Polish nature and soon makes things aggravating for the couple. Given that Danny has always taken care of his mother, he dreams of bad things happening to her if he neglects her. Soon he finds himself in a turmoil of doubts about his future with Teresa. Chris Columbus's 1991 romantic dramedy will revive memories of the John Candy we will always adore. The big guy with a big heart to match. This wonderfully light rom-com stands as one of the best tributes to John Candy, allowing him to show his performance capabilities. In this movie, he is exceedingly human and vulnerable, but also funny and lovable at the same time. His role of a longing bachelor in search of a lady is absolutely touching and real. Not many know this, but the producers of Only the Lonely had initially not included a trailer on location for Maureen O'Hara, who plays Candy's mother. John was so furious to learn that someone of her reputation was not given the respect she deserved that he even gave her his own trailer. This led to the executives caving in because they could not have the main hero without his own abode. Only the Lonely is a sheer delight and a true piece of art. Give this a shot for Candy.
You ever hear of a tune-up?
You ever hear of a ritual killing?
I don't get it.
Uncle Buck, 1989. Buck Russell is a hapless mess of a bachelor who is way more comfortable betting on rigged horse races than he is babysitting his nephew and nieces. However, things change when a crisis in the family leads to him being in charge of the kids. Unfamiliar with the suburban life, Buck eventually weaves his magic around with his style of cooking and doing the laundry, which ends up impressing all but his rebellious teenage niece Tia. But with a wee bit of luck and a hell lot of love, Uncle Buck finally manages to astonish everyone in this uplifting family comedy. Uncle Buck also happens to be great because of the likability of its characters. It's just unthinkable to imagine anyone, not Danny DeVito, not Jack Nicholson, nor even Robin Williams, but the one and only John Candy for this role. In case you are wondering who else was offered the part of Buck, we also have John Travolta and Tom Hanks in the list who couldn't make it. Lucky for Candy, he effortlessly shines as Buck, literally bringing the character alive. Candy always had his way with comedies, but here he delivers a terrific performance. At first glance, you are bound to call him a slob, but as the pace picks up, you see him develop a heart of pure gold. The instant sweetness and pathos Candy brings to the table is one of the primary things that accentuates this film, making it one of Hugh's best and classic comic flick. So if you consider John Candy to be the god of feel-good comedy, do give Uncle Buck a shot for sure.
I'll be right there, Mom!
I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Here, let me help you. Oh, jeez. I'm sorry.
Delirious, 1990. Jack Gable, the head writer and producer of a successful soap opera, Beyond Our Dreams, is highly attracted toward the lead actress, Laura Claiborne. Everyone but Jack can see through her feminine wiles. Soon after a nasty car accident, he wakes up to find himself in one of the settings of his fictional show, Ashford Falls, and realizes everything he writes comes true. Just when he thinks it's a good opportunity to make Laura's character fall in love with him, he comes in terms with the fact that life is not that easy, even with him being the author. Candy's role as Jack Gable could have easily been essayed by several other comic actors, but Candy stepped in, giving his best shot like always. This 1991 fantasy comedy film by Tom Mankiewicz is no masterpiece, but the flick is definitely humorous. Though the idea of a writer being able to write his world may have been staged in other films, it has rarely been executed with as much wit as it was here, thanks in large part to Candy for pulling off his role in this low-budget rewrite so well. It's definitely a treat for anyone who's a fan of comedy, and John Candy, of course.
Okay, enough pissing around. Get in here. Now, who told you to send us?
Armed and Dangerous, 1986. Frank Dooley is an LAPD officer dismissed from the force after he is framed for the theft of a television set by two crook detectives. He, along with defunct defense attorney Norman Kane, seek employment at a private security firm and soon become licensed security guards. However, the duo gets tricked by a robbery at a warehouse that they are watching, leading to them investigating corruption within the company and their union. Perhaps the only thing to crib about in this 1986 comedy flick directed by Mark L. Lester is the fact that it feels too short. With a running time of just 88 minutes, fans of John Candy can hardly get enough of him. Surprisingly, Candy is quite serious in the role. He pursues the bad guys, protects the integrity of Meg Ryan's character, and aids in reversing her father's contrary ethics. And if that wasn't odd enough, Eugene Levy plays the funny guy to Candy's straight man act. It is an unusual mechanism, but it works. Needless to say this, but Candy as the security guard is truly armed and dangerous. It's a different high to see him so naturally brilliant. So if you happen to be a die-hard fan of John Candy, you've got to see this movie.
Chuck Fleming! Hey, are we on the air now, Chuck?
Yes, right there.
This is working?
Yes.
Can I say something to all the people who thought I was a loser, Chuck? Thanks, Chuck! Hey, Marty!
Brewster's Millions, 1985. Montgomery Brewster happens to be a minor league baseball player making more headlines off the field than he usually does on it. His life takes a 360-degree turn when he learns that his great-uncle Rupert Horn has passed away, leaving him $300 million in his will. To gain privilege to his inheritance, Brewster has to spend $30 million within a span of 30 days, but there are rules to be followed. He cannot disclose the challenge to anyone. He must not own any assets by the end of the 30 days, and he cannot purchase, destroy, or give away any item that is inherently valuable. If he fails to do all of these, not only does he lose all the cash, but 2 plotting trustees get their hands on it. This hilarious comedy by Walter Hill is played out brilliantly by Rich, with John Candy as his best friend and teammate, adding to its hilarity. With a very gifted Candy and a strong supporting role, Brewster's Millions definitely does not lack laughs. What's actually great about it is that it lets Prior do his crazed, excessive behavior as much as it enables Candy to do his own routine, who breathes life into the story.
Acknowledge, please. Where are you?
It's okay, Jack.
It's not okay. I got a small plane here. I don't know where it is. I can't find it.
Jack, a fly landed on your screen.
Summer Rental, 1985. Jack Chester is an overloaded air traffic controller who, on his 5-week paid leave, reluctantly takes his wife and children to the Florida beach town of Citrus Cove. Things immediately go west for the Chester family though, when Jack ends up in a conflict with an obnoxious local yachtsman. Jack ends up having to literally race him to gain back his dignity and the family's respect. Carl Reiner's 1985 American comedy film is devoid of bloodshed and vulgar sex jokes. It has John Candy doing what he does the best, and that's making you laugh. His wittiness and sense of humor shines through as Chester, who in one notable scene literally kicks out all the people from his rental house holding a crutch. Candy, who hardly essayed the character of a family fan, handles the role extremely well, bringing such a nice sense of realism to the portrayal of a father. This movie is inevitably one of the best comedies that John Candy ever did. Watch this for him and the cliffhanger finale.
The odds-on favorite showed his true colors with that late stretch run. Tumbleweed held on momentarily, but realistically, only a fool would put their money on Tumbleweed. That horse had no chance of...
Cool Runnings, 1993. Irving Blitzer is a humiliated American bobsled medalist who was disqualified for cheating in the 1972 Winter Olympics. Years later, Jamaican sprinter Derice Bannock fails to pass the 100-yard sprint trial for the Olympics. Despite this, he decides to go to the games anyway, if not as a sprinter, then definitely as a bobsledder. Soon he and his friends enlist Irving's aid, who agrees to be their coach. This 1993 American sports comedy directed by John Turteltaub is not the Jamaican bobsled team's true saga, but it happens to be inspired by it. It craftily captures the spirit of the sportsmen and the ridicule they faced. The movie boasts impeccably good drama and terrific performances. As the disgraced bobsled medalist John Candy delivers a genuine presentation, one that's bound to strike the right chords. The way he balances the fragmented and inspirational sides of his character is superb. Cool Runnings is filled with Canadian locations and with a great Canadian legend John Candy in the lead role. It is one of the best feel-good movies ever. Spaceballs, 1987. The evil Dark Helmet and President Scroob plan to rob all of planet Druidia's fresh air and transfer it into their own. For that, they need to lay their hands on the code to the planet's atmosphere. Meanwhile, on Druidia, King Roland's daughter Princess Vespa runs away from her own wedding only to get kidnapped by Helmet, who wants to ransom her for the combination. King Roland asks space rebel Lone Star and his faithful half-human, half-canine sidekick Barf to save the princess. Mel Brooks' 1987 sci-fi comedy happens to be one of the greatest parody films that was ever made. Unquestionably, the best part of the film was reserved for John Candy as the Chewbacca-like Barf. Barf happens to be a Mog, a half-man, half-dog, or as he likes to put it, his own best friend. Despite being surrounded by an impressive cast, Candy still emerges as the standout, being dandy as ever. His role as Barf is the wackiest character he has ever played in a film. Not many know this, but Candy, as Barf, wore a pair of animatronic ears and a motorized tail. While the ears were controlled by Creature FX puppeteer Rick Lazzarini, Candy made the tail move with a hidden control in his paws. So, if you fancy a Star Wars parody on the late John Candy, then make this a must-watch on your list. And if you liked our content, Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.
Yeah. Trying to watch the Smurfs? Yeah. Did you see the one where Papa Smurf took a crutch and smashed the shit out of a guy with a red hat? Did you see that one? You want to see that one?